Are you struggling with loneliness? Feeling depressed? Are you searching for a purpose to live? Are you ready to tap into your inner greatness? Ready to soar to your full potential? Come and be inspired. Join me, Dr. Asha Mwendo, on Healing Moment inside Gospel and Soul every Wednesday, 6 p.m., where we will help you to understand your purpose. We will help you to find your wind. We'll show you how to open your wings and fly. Healing Moments, Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Fit FM 96.7, FitFMJA.com for a simulcast of Primal Sports, an interactive sports program produced by Primal Media and presented by top sports activists. So tune in to a simulcast of Primal Sports on Fit FM 96.7, FitFMJA.com, and Primal4K.com.
Fit FM is owned and operated by Communistation Company Limited, located in Stuart Castle, Duncan's Trelawney, Jamaica. We broadcast on FM 96.7 locally and is heard worldwide on FitFMJA.com. Our mission is to amplify diverse voices and opinions, inform, educate, entertain, and engage listeners of all ages and the lifestyle while promoting responsible community development. Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Blessings and light. This is Imara, the musical revolutionary. Your host and the community buzz on the Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. This and every Monday at 3 p.m. From the home to the community to the wider world. Let us be the change we want to see. Join me this and every Monday at 3 p.m. on the community buzz on Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. Fit mind, fit body, fit community, fit world. This is Imara, the musical revolutionary, on the community buzz on Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in the service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race.
Struggle goes on. We are the builders of the pyramids. We are the builders of the stone cities of Zimbabwe. We build them White House. We build them factories. With blood, with sweat, with tears. With flesh, with bones. Them use build them economy. Now them want come con you and me. With them science and them technology. We make them take with knowledge. Now them are deafly. Them are blindly. We are walk, we are ride, we are drive, we are fly. Nah look, nah see. Eyes focus on the screen of an iPhone, Galaxy, tablet, Blackberry. Wake up, look. Uno no sister them a bury with. Ancestors crying out. Them a weep. You see we heading back to slavery. Yes, yes. This is Aymara Musical Revolutionary. Yes, and it is another community buzz. And we are here saying we don't take any pause. We are a rebel and we are fighting for a cause. You know what I mean? So we're still there upon what they would call Easter Monday while everybody outside and partying and holidaying. You know what I mean? We are here holding a vibration, giving praises to the Most High and give thanks that we are, what would I say? Still above earth or above ground, right? So we're there. But we give thanks to the ancestors who they claim that are below ground because they have made so much contribution and gave their lives, you know what I mean, that we could be here. And it's a cycle of life, you know, that's a part of the journey of life. And we are in a season where they are saying that they are celebrating the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so many things are happening in Jamaica at this present moment, some known and some unknown. And that are the sad part. Some of the unknown things, them, you know, more terrible than those that are known, you know. So we have Reverend Watts here with us, you know, a black liberator, a revolutionary, you know, one of the past where I am on salute every time I see him, you know. So we give thanks that he's here. And we are going to talk about the death and resurrection of the Christ, you know, and to see how we look at it and see how it is related to our present situation that we are in today. We need to dissect these things, you know what I mean? There's so many things happening in the world. We see recently, you know, about in this week, you know, we see them expel 2 black lawmakers, you know, in the 113 assembly in somewhere in the states of America there, you know, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, you know what I mean? 2 young men, brilliant young men, standing up against what you'd call the whole thing of gun violence and the murdering that is taking place with children in schools, you know what I mean? But I don't know it is going to work because the people in the United States are not going to give up them Second Amendment, you know, what do I call it? Rights. Them see that as a right and them are going to hold on that. So we don't know how soon that is going to change because when we look on these things, we realize that the gun manufacturing is one of the biggest business in the world because they depended upon war. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but let's see. One of the things that we must do, we must always remember who we are and know that we as the African don't really have no friend. You know what I mean? Everybody is at us. So we have to stand up for ourselves, you know, and this is something we must get clear in our mind, you know what I mean, and observe what is happening. Yes, and this Friday, past Friday, the Rastafari community also commemorates what them call it Bad Friday, you know what I mean? And before we go into anything, you know, we want to give a little history of this movement, you know, started by a man called Leonard Howell, you know, born in Coral River in Jamaica, yeah, you know. And he's a man who used to work in Panama. And then in 1932 or so, after the crowning of His Imperial Majesty in 1930, you know, he decided that, guess what? We have a black king now and no longer we are going to surrender and bow to the white supremacist king and with them present to us as God. So we are going to look to the east for our black redemption. And him see that in a Haile Selassie. And him start to preach and talk about the whole vibration of His Imperial Majesty as the returned Messiah on earth. And then publish a book called The Promise Key. You understand? And the result of that, you know, he was arrested and charged for sedition and was sentenced in prison in what? For 2 years. But when them do that, you just expand the growth of the Rastafari community. You know, and you know, as usual, and we see the same thing happening in Jamaica right now. We see the same thing happening in Jamaica. Who was up against, Powell was up against, you know, the Jamaican planters, the trade union, the churches, the police, colonial authorities, you know. So
They never give him any chance. You know, he was always seen as an enemy of the state, an enemy of the state. You know what I mean? So here we are going to talk about the Christ, and I am wondering why they crucified him. If this was the same thing that how will suffer, the Rastafari community suffered. That's why the Rastafari community still commemorate it and say Black Bad Friday, because they were crucified by the authority. And it was Bustamante, you know, who was the leader of government at that time. We see recently in 2017, the same Jamaica Labour Party of government, you know, made what you call a public apology and must give some millions to the families who suffered that atrocities. So we are looking on all of these things, and we are here today and see people eating bun and cheese. The thing when me really a question, when I see the Christ was on the cross, what they gave him to drink? Myrrh and what? Some gall, something bitter. But we're around here eat bun and cheese. How that work? You know what I mean? And people are walk up and down now and share up bun and cheese. I hope them give the people them some bitters to purge them blood after a while. The purging of the blood is very important after you contaminate it with so much sugary thing, you know what I mean? And some people are sip on alcohol, all sort of thing, them yellow, green, blue sodas, Peter Tosh should I say, you know what I mean? Some people have some has the color in some plastic cup now. It's this thing now. We see what they use them. When we look on these things, we see all our youth them pants drop down and you know, them a walk on a bop like them don't have no strength in them knee and them thing there. You know what I mean? And them just a consume all of these green, pink, yellow, you know what I mean? All sort of color, you know, some clear cup. So we realize that if we want to make some money and all you need for is just go into the cup industry. Because I watch these things, you know what I mean? These cups sell very fast. Because, you know, none of them can reuse. You use them and you have to go dash them away. You know, so the Chinese people, them make a killing from these cups and the people them who produce alcohol. So we look on Easter and we realize the merchant them make money while some people suffer, you know what I mean? So we have to look on it, you know. Before we go to the good reverend and have a discussion around that, we see other things happening in Trelawney, you know. We see the whole beach and Cooper Spin, things are going around there, you know, fishermen them, you know, crying out and asking the government, you know, to come to their aid and don't allow these so-called investors, or what they call it, who come here and decide say they want to, you know, displace the people. They claim that they are investing, but at the same time, you know, they are stopping the people livelihood, you know, and the whole self-sufficiency that people need to survive and take care of them family. We see Jamaica in a state, you know, and we have to pay close attention to it. I want to hear the people them voice strong enough, you know. I wonder if they give us something to drink or whatever took place in the past 2 years. Further just dumb down some people. Nobody no want to talk, nobody no want to send nothing, you know, understand? You know, we have to question a whole heap of thing, you know, especially when it comes to the beaches of Jamaica, and to realize that so many of the beaches, you know, have been taken away from the people, you know. We hope they don't allow the little one out here so when we pass and see a whole heap of people out there gather on a whole of vibes, Burwood Beach. We must stand up and make sure so we protect that one day, you know what I mean? And to see how we can reclaim the others that have been taken away from us. You know, these are the things that we must look into. This is our country, you know. We ancestors fought for this, and we don't believe, say, we should have sit back and allow some foreigners to come and just take it over and take it from way. You know, we have to stand up. We have to find whatever means necessary, you know, how to organize and mobilize ourselves to stand up for what is rightfully ours. And that is what it is. So, Sister Julia, see where you can bounce with you now. And before we go into it, when we come back, we talk to Reverend Watson from the Baptist Church.
You got to be good. You better be good now. You got to be good. You gotta be good to your brother, man. And you got to love your sister too. Na 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 na. You better be good to everyone. And Jah will shine His light on you. I know He'll shine His light on you. As I travel in life lonely road, I see many fall along the way. But the race is not for the swift, nor the battle for the strong. But time and chances face us all. Why, time and chances face us all. We not give it up. We can't give it up. We never give it up. We can't give it up. Sitting on the outside.
Yes, we can't give it up. We'll never give it up. You understand? And as we sit on the outside looking in, life seems so gloomy all the way. But guess what? We still not give up. We want to shout out to the people who tune in to www.fitfmja.com worldwide. You know, we say worldwide from yard to broad, you know, from, Jamaica to Europe to North America to South America, and to Africa, even as far as Russia and China, because we are on the World Wide Web. We give thanks to the people, who are listening on Primal. It is www.primal4k.com. Yes, we are simulcasting there. And the people who are listening on the FM band, 96.7, right? Fit FM 96.7. And we are asking the people that you can call in, you can make your contribution, and make your suggestion, 876-478-9144, 876-513-6668. That's a new number, so I'm not too familiar with it. Let me say it again, 876-513-6668. Yes. So we are here, and bless up to the people online.
Yes, it's Debbie Winter.
We bless up Debbie Winter, we give thanks, welcome to Fit FM, and feel free to make a contribution and to make a suggestion, text in, if you want to, and any one of those numbers. And let me repeat the number again, 876-478-9144, 876-513-6668. Yes, and anybody else, out there listening, just make a contribution. Let your voice be heard. We have the great, and when we say that, we don't say it with water in our mouth, because we are great people. Reverend Watson here. Reverend, we are in this season, and we know you is a man who, is a Christian man, a follower of Christ, and we are going to use that in a deliberate way, a follower of Christ. Now, the question we may ask today, the crucifixion. Facts are fiction. It is factual or it is fictional.
I'm very delighted to be in this space with you and all the brothers and sisters away from us who are listening to us. Greetings to all of you and high praises to the Most High. Based on my own research and I have come to the conclusion that it happened. The Messiah came. Let me ask you to lend me your patience as I reason around this. He was a liberator of no mean order. Came to liberate humanity. I must ask myself, why is it the religious capital is in Italy, Rome, and not Jerusalem or Ethiopia. Something went wrong. Rome is over 2,000 miles, if I put it that way, from Jerusalem where the events took place. Now, the whole idea, and this is where the church and I may not see eye to eye. And we grew up, all of us, pastors and laymen, and our grandfathers, grandmothers, and parents were celebrating Good Friday as a day of crucifixion. But we must remember this, that the Messiah, as was predicted, should have spent, which of course he did, 3 days and 3 nights in the earth. We were told that he was crucified on a Friday. Any way you calculate it, it doesn't add up. How can a man be crucified on a Friday, spend 3 days and 3 nights in the grave, and was resurrected on Sunday morning? It is not possible. The Bible does not tell us nothing about any Friday regarding the crucifixion of the Messiah. The Bible speaks about Sabbath. It did not even say Saturday. Sabbath. What we must understand is the Jews or the Hebrews, when they were liberated from North Africa, Egypt, where they spent over 400 years, black people, of course, they celebrated their independence on a particular day, which they called the Passover. Just like when we got our independence from Britain, we call it independence. And sometimes it falls on a Saturday, a Sunday, a Monday, but any day it falls and it is considered Independence Day. The Jewish Independence Day, which is called Passover, in the year 30 AD, when the Messiah was crucified, the high Sabbath, which the gospel speaks about, especially the book of John, the last of the 4 gospels. As a matter of fact, Matthew was not the first gospel. It was Mark, then Matthew, then Luke, then John. So the high Sabbath on the year, in the year when the Messiah was crucified, fell that year on a Thursday. Therefore, that Sabbath was not a Saturday Sabbath that the Bible speaks about in relations to the crucifixion of the Messiah. And so, when you read John chapter 12, 6 days before the Passover, and then in verse 12, you have on the morrow, the people took palm branches and they celebrated his praise, singing Hosanna, as he journeyed into Jerusalem for whatever will happen or should happen to him. What we call Palm Sunday never occurred on a Sunday. It occurred on a Saturday. The Passover would have been the Thursday. And you check 6 days before the Passover, which was Friday. On the morrow, according to John 12 and verse 12, was a Saturday when he journeyed into Jerusalem with his followers and those who loved him. Right? So here what happened now. I want you to calculate with me. 3 days and 3 nights. He died Wednesday. And while the Sabbath was near, Joseph of Arimathea and the Nicodemus, one of those revolutionaries from the Sanhedrin, who crept through the bushes to see him one night. And they argued. And then said, we know that you are from God because the things you are doing, you couldn't do them unless you were from God. He was converted, but he was a quiet disciple of him. So after the death, he and Joseph of Arimathea got the body and buried him, and they had to bury him before the beginning of the Sabbath. The Sabbath was not a Saturday Sabbath. It was a special Sabbath, the high Sabbath, the Sabbath which was considered the Passover, their Independence Day, the day of liberation. So calculate with me. Wednesday night was the first night in the grave.
So you're saying that he was crucified
on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday.
Yes.
And Wednesday, Thursday. So what time of reason? Friday evening?
No. Look, I could go through it.
I could go through it.
Wednesday night was the first night in the grave.
Right.
Thursday was the first day.
Yes.
Thursday night was the second night in the grave. Thursday was the first day in the grave, rather. Thursday night was the second night in the grave.
Yeah.
Friday was the second day in the grave. Friday night was the third night in the grave. Saturday was the third day in the grave. He rose after 6, Saturday evening.
Okay.
So Sunday morning, on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary, Magdalene, and the others went to the graveside, and he was missing.
So nobody never rolled it on stone then?
The stone was removed. The point is, this Good Friday thing that they have given to us came out of the heart of Babylon.
And when you say Babylon, explain that.
They remember, said the Romans, they control the thing, you know.
Oh.
So same like how they removed the religious art from Jerusalem down to Italy.
So the art of Babylon, you are saying, is at the time was the Romans them who happened to be the one who murdered, make you use a term that people can understand, who murdered the Messiah.
Yeah, we look at it that way. We could look at it that way. Yeah. We could go even in deeper theological wranglings, but you know, and go lesser.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
The Messiah was crucified for treason. They charged him for treason and blasphemy, that he claimed to be God.
Wow.
And that he was a king. And he said there was no other king besides Caesar.
Wow.
So upon those settings, they crucified him. But it wasn't a Friday. If it were a Friday, he would have raised about Tuesday morning.
Yes, that's the truth.
So the whole Good Friday thing is, I went to church Good Friday, but I told the people at the Clarkstown church that I was coming because it is a tradition, and that's the only way I could meet with them on a Friday to celebrate. But a Wednesday, he died. So from I found out, this book I have inside of me, in front of me, I wrote it about 2 years ago. It is to be published with this reality. And what really touched me years ago, and some of my colleagues who might be listening, we had a professor of blessed memory who one day him said the Messiah was crucified on a Wednesday. I never questioned it, but it puzzled my brain. And then I started to make the research and came to the conclusion, no pastor, none of them, old or young, can challenge this successfully.
Wow. All right, we have a brethren who me know say him going to have something to say, you know, in this. Mr. Edgerton Mackenzie. Edgerton Mackenzie, big up yourself. We over there, I believe he's in Mandeville, you know what I mean? He's a man who I met, you know, I met him personally and know him too, you know. He's from a community, near the community where my wife come from. So bless up yourself. He's always on Facebook preaching, man, you know, and me know he's a staunch Bible defender. So if you really want to make any contribution and believe that what Reverend Watson is saying are not true, or you can't find any solid thing inside of it, you know, you can call in and make we have a discussion, because we are looking at some significant historical, what we call it, we can call it facts or evidence. We have to look and see, you know what I mean? Because once it has been contested certain way, we have to think whose facts is the facts. So, because everybody, and the great thing about Reverend Watson is somebody who aren't afraid, you know, to contest some of the things that, as him say, the Rome have been, you know, inculcated in the minds of our people for centuries now. And we are still holding on some things that we don't see the relevance to us. And, you know, it's funny when you just talk about charging for treason and crucifixion, right? We realize there are certain things in the Rastafari community, you know, and why am I going to say that? You remember a man named Claudius Henry was a leader of the Rastafari community once. He was charged for treason, you know, by the same kind of system, you know, when he was standing up. And his two sons were executed because they claim that they were aligning themselves with communism or communists, and they are making contact with Fidel Castro. And that was before even the Coral Garden massacre. That was about 1959 and 58, them time there. And we see the same kind of thing happening. One of the things we want to ask you, what are some of the reasons why you believe they crucify the Messiah?
The Messiah came,
yeah,
for one fundamental purpose. One was to liberate mankind from a certain path of destruction. His message was to give a new sense of hope and direction to the world, whatever the culture, guide mankind for higher living. Or there came a time in history when mankind rebelled against himself and his creator. And so in order to bring back mankind in line with himself and the whole creative order, is the Messiah came to liberate us to higher life. So as it is placed, whosoever believeth in him should not perish,
but have everlasting life,
but have unending life. May I put it so that
yes,
the masses will sort of understand the purpose for which he came.
Mm-hmm.
So the message he brought was one of liberation, and they hated him for that. And so you look throughout history, Patrice Lumumba,
yes,
down in the Congo,
yes,
and other liberators who came up, they were killed.
Marcus Mosiah
Yes,
Garvey, because
they attempted to help the black people, and not only black people, but the oppressed. The oppressed. So he came to liberate mankind. Some people use the term redeem, but that was the fundamental purpose for which he came, to make a sacrifice on behalf of all humanity.
And that liberation, as you stated, is to point us to our what? Higher self.
Same, sir.
And pointing the people to them higher selves. It means that those who exploiting the people would never have the power to control the minds of the people. That's what you are saying.
Most definitely. And more than that.
We have a call online and we want to, engage this individual. Blessings and light. Welcome, caller.
Yeah, man. Good evening.
Good afternoon. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, not bad at all. Mackenzie here.
Edgerton Mackenzie?
Yeah.
Watch ya, man. Welcome to Fit FM, man. Welcome to Trelawney's Radio. You know, say you're the worldwide door. Your voice is all over the world today.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah, man.
Your voice is also on www.primalmedia.com, another sister station, that we are simulcasting on, right? We have Reverend Watson here in studio, and we are discussing the crucifixion and the resurrection. Saying if it is a fact or fiction.
But I heard you ask him a question at the first.
Yeah.
About fiction and non-fiction, right?
Yes.
That was the question. Right?
Yeah, then that is what I'm saying to you. Facts are fiction.
Right. But he don't answer that question. You don't answer the question.
All right.
Right?
All right. I will
non-fiction.
Hold on a minute. I want him to answer it because Rev him saying you never answer the question. Answer it.
I will repeat myself.
Yes.
Fact. It happened. The Messiah came.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
I hope.
Right.
So the other part of the question we ask again to dissect it: if he was crucified and resurrected.
Yes, he was crucified and resurrected.
All right. And I believe Reverend answer that question as well, don't it?
Right. But the one I want to, the one why I call, the one that I call is the one that you asked about, the last one that you asked the pastor about what he was answering earlier on about, but why he came and died.
Yes.
Why he came and died. I don't think the pastor did a good job on that, because Jesus Christ came and died because of sin. Because of the fall of Adam and Eve, that's why Jesus has to come.
Well, you see, to our church man, hold on. You see, to our church man, me I go allow you and him to deal with that right now. So, finish your point, and then he will reply to you.
Right. So, Jesus Christ, we know the story of Adam and Eve, that he sold out to the devil, and so man belongs to Christ, to God, and man fall by selling out the legacy to the devil. And so Jesus Christ came and he buy us back, not with silver and gold, but with his blood, which he shed upon the cross. And that's why you have Easter now. And I agree with the pastor that say there's no way you can get 3 days between Sunday and I do a message on that day before yesterday. There's no way you can get 3 days between Friday and Saturday and Sunday. That's just rubbish. Okay. And so we learned that from we were young coming up, and no one question it. I hear no one talk about this, right? No one talk about this. But that's why we have Easter, because Jesus Christ came and buy us back to be in close relationship with our Maker, because Adam has sold it out and we were far from him, and so he came now and buy us back. That's the purpose of the crucifixion.
All right, it's a dialogue. So I want Reverend Watson to respond to you now and to see.
I never wanted to go down the parochial road. As a result, I use the word liberation. That's what it really meant. To liberate.
I'm not hearing the pastor properly. I'm not hearing the pastor properly.
I never wanted to be too parochial. That's why I went down the liberation route. That to liberate is to set free absolutely. And that's what he did. That whosoever accept that sacrifice will enjoy life now. And I believe that there's a beyond, where there's a greater life. Every man to his own order of interpretation. I hope what I've said makes some sense.
You understand what you hear the pastor? You understand what he said here, sir?
Yeah, but you're low.
All right, let me repeat. You hear me clearly?
Yeah.
What he's saying, you don't want to go down the parochial line. What you want to exert, that's why he's using the word liberation. And liberation means that every man would have the opportunity to free himself and to find him higher self. You use the term that he bought back our lives, right? That is the term that you are using. Right. But he is expressing it in another way by saying the death and the resurrection of Yahshua. You're saying Jesus. I mean, know this good the Reverend going to say Yahshua, right?
Right.
That Yahshua came to really elevate the consciousness of humanity, that they would find back themselves to the highest connection with the Creator, which is within themselves.
Right, you say it right. You say it right.
Then that you must say, well, we're not different. We're not different. We're not say anything different then.
Right.
Yes.
Right. But so the question when if you notice that I put on the page, when you ask the pastor about that he said he researched, but there's no research in terms of knowing that. That's just what the Bible says. We who are Christian, we follow the book, which is the Bible. And so we go by what the Bible says. Right? And so we don't hardly do any other research, because we already said that the research has been done and it is documented in a book called the Bible. And so we follow that. And so we don't go out, Christians. You have different Christians still. You have some people with different religion. So I can't broadly saying that. I can just talk about mine.
And you're right when you say, the whole vibration and the whole difference in denomination. Let me use that term, But if you are going to talk about Christianity,
right.
Or Christian supposed to be the follower of Christ, right?
Right.
So people will come up with all kind of rituals and rites, with their denomination, and practice it on particular days and particular time, And if you observe what the Reverend is saying, he is not supporting the authority of the Roman system, how they presented it to us. And that's why what you are saying pertaining to, and he expressed that as well, that it could never happen on a Friday, right? The resurrection could never,
right.
Or the death or the crucifixion could never happen on a Friday. And that's why he's saying, because for years we realize, and that's where the research come in, for years what we have been celebrating is that, he was crucified on a Friday, and that's why they call it a Good Friday. And if he was crucified on a Friday, see, according to what we celebrated, they must say Monday at the resurrection day, or Sunday is the resurrection day, right? And when you check from Friday to Sunday, you realize there's something really. So really and truly, somebody will quest that would really have to do some research, and that's what he's saying.
Yeah, no, but watch this. Remember, I know.
Me I hope that you can hear the Rev, because I don't want to talk for you.
Yeah.
So listen,
Right.
listen to the Rev. Make him reply to you.
Research does not mean going and trying to get information from external evidences. Research means also to take from Genesis, from Leviticus, from Exodus, and from other passages within the Bible and connect them together.
Right.
That's research I
correct.
speak about. So
Okay.
when I speak of
Right.
research,
No,
I never thought, I was not saying about any external evidences to justify the truth.
I understand.
You understand?
Yeah, I understand that.
All right, wonderful, brother.
Yeah, I really understand that.
Yes.
I understand that research. But the fact is, watch this. We are 2,000 years. That's what they say. No, this event happened 2,000 years ago. No, what I research out of the Bible is saying that some days, I mean, it was 6 months. Some say it was 9 months. And so you cannot get an accurate of what happened and 2,000 years ago. But the fact is that it happened. And so Jesus made a statement. He said, as Jonah with the belly of the whale 3 days and 3 nights, so he will be in the belly of the earth. And so we accept that, no matter which day. The fact is that it happened. That is right, just like Christmas. Just like Christmas. And these holidays that they have. So Jesus born in so forth. The fact of the matter is not where he born. The fact of the matter that he born. That's a reality of the statement. He was born.
Yes.
So this is what I'm saying. The fact is that we celebrate, and I don't want to call it Easter neither. I call it the death, burial, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, which I preach every day and not just on this holiday.
Okay.
Because it is the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Okay.
You could also call it the celebration of the people's liberation. You could do that too.
You agree with what the Reverend said there?
The liberation.
What he said. The celebration of the people's liberation.
All right. Let me tell you about the word liberation. So I have a puzzle with that. I have a really problem with liberation. I think you use I think if you use another word, it will be
freedom. Freedom.
Right. Liberation sort of not in the way of how the Bible would put it. Liberation would mean like liberate from certain things, from your country and from whatever. So you start to have a little drifty meaning there. Were
you a friend of Fidel Castro? Were you an admirer of Fidel Castro and Nelson Mandela and them fellows there?
Right, exactly, sister.
I'm
saying, so it started used out of the spiritual realm.
No, man, this is high reasoning. I would meet you one day though. So you can sit down.
All right, but there are some people who are listening.
Yes.
Would understand. And you have some other people who are ignorant of what we are saying.
You understand?
No, don't underestimate, our people. You know what I mean? There are various kind of people right now tuning in, and very intellectual people and grassroots people who clearly understand when we say liberation, what we mean. Remember Marcus Garvey did say, liberate yourself from mental slavery.
Right.
So that a part of the mentality, when you roll on something and it is a burden to you. You understand? So we said that Christ came, to really liberate us.
Okay.
To lift us to our highest self, that you can live with humanity, with respect, with dignity. Right? That is what he's talking about.
Absolute freedom. That's what liberation is.
Absolute freedom.
Right. That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then we big up Patrick Beckford. And I want to big up my brethren in the market. Otherwise, as Yoga, saying he in last week, and him said, boy, full joy the program with me and Patrick Beckford. So, yellow Patrick Beckford, wherever you are, you are faithful live. Big up Patrick Beckford, yeah, you know. And you can call in if you want to make a contribution. See, because guess what? We are.
Okay.
I must say, I will
Okay,
thing about me now.
I hang up on this guy. Continue to listen, right?
All right, we give thanks
All
for your
right.
contribution. And I want you keep on tuning
Yeah,
into
man.
this and share it with the rest of people and down in a year here, because this program is
All
really
right,
a community centered. But we talk about the community, we talk about the white community, the international
All right.
community, not just Trelawney and Jamaica, but the international community. Yes,
Okay.
One love,
Bye.
brother. One love.
blessings. Yes. So, Julie, I want a piece of music. We could cool off, we'll clear the heat, and then we'll come forward and talk, because there's a lot here today. Revelation time.
Revelation time. Baby, in your mind. Right. A revelation time. Spirit in your mind. A revelation time. Keep it in your mind. Revelation time. Spirit in your mind. These are the days of the wars in the Armageddon that we have been reading about in the Bible. These abominations, many more will suffer and die out in the streets. Die out in the streets. For Satan, I know you must get defeat. Defeat. No more weeping. Just take heed and listen to the emperor.
Listen.
Just take heed and listen to the lawgiver. Put on your armor and shield and prepare for the battlefield. The prices keep rising and baby mom cry. Watch how she cry. The fire keep burning and blood keep on running. But a weeping and a wailing, and a weeping and a mourning, weeping and a mourning. A revelation is a revelation. No weeping, no more wailing. Coming under thunder, pestilence. Iniquity are working at dark places. Famine, pestilence. Iniquity are working at high places. Why? To leave it by.
Yes. It's revelation time. It's revelation time, so keep that in your mind. Bear it in your mind, see? And we reveal a lot right here in the community buzz. As we say, we give thanks to Edgerton Mackenzie calling from down there in Mandeville, you know, and we are asking others to make a contribution to let your voice be heard here. And the number is 876-478-9144. 876-513-6668. You can call in. We get a message from Patrick Beckford. He said, it is too simple to a thing to say is Adam's sin alone that Jesus died for, but in this corruption, greed, racism, and all types of sin. That is why Christianity in certain types of practices taught and preach on sin as the only reason for Christ on earth mess up people's minds. You agree with that, Rev?
Hey, Patrick, hail the man. Deep expression.
Yes.
This is one of the reasons when we are talking about the Christ and the sacrifice he made for humanity, for our full liberation. I cannot use no other word than liberation, because oftentimes the word SIN
Right.
is not fully understood by people. And on radio, unless I was going to do a series of lectures, I would not even dare to use the word he dying for the sin of mankind, because not everybody would fully understand that. It is bringing us back to ours so that that sense of oneness could be experienced for the greater good of the masses. Some years ago, I was at a certain place, and an American Caucasian gentleman, professor of philosophy, the man I sat in class, and I heard this blue-eyed brother say, Christ was the first, what was the word he used? Christ was the first liberator. Christ was the first, he almost used the word communist, because he came to bring about a change for the masses on an equal footing.
Yes.
So he's coming, and as you mentioned about corruption, if many of those who are in charge of institutions and other places, people who make contribution to other people's lives, if they were following the teachings of the great Messiah, our world today would be a better place with greater meaning for all of God's children, wherever we are in this time.
So, Rev, when we look on the celebration that is taking place, especially at this time of the year, right? And we know for the past week, I believe it's a week of camp over by the National Stadium with the Seventh-day Adventists, you know what I mean? And we understand that maybe that organization or that movement or that denomination is the second richest or the richest denomination, Christian denomination in the world right now. Now, when we see all of the atrocities that is taking place in the world, with so how much in them say how much in billion Christians in the world now? Well, about 2.5 billion Christians in the world. If the 2.5 billion people really follow the work of the Messiah, you believe we're in the kind of condition we are now?
We couldn't be. His teachings were the ones that influenced Marcus Garvey.
Wow.
His teachings liberated and influenced Nelson Mandela. This is one of the reasons he did not take revenge.
And you would say Fidel Castro as well.
The Papa Fidel.
Your Papa
Fidel Castro.
See it.
They were, as a matter of fact, I don't know.
Yeah.
And this is not a diversion. That when he was in the Sahara Maestro, his priest used to go there every Sunday morning, give him Holy Communion.
Yeah.
And it kept him. So a lot of people don't believe that Fidel was attached to the Christ.
A practice Jesuit, you know.
He was.
He was.
And that's what guided him. That's why he was such a good man.
Yes.
And everyone I know who follows the teachings
of Yeshua,
yes,
yeah,
make positive impact on other people's lives.
There is a saying in the Cuban community that we give from the small amount that we have, something like that, and not from what? Because they don't really have wealth.
Yeah.
And you see the immense amount of sacrifices, you know, that the Cubans or the Cuban government made from time to time. We see the liberation of Southern Africa. We see the liberation in Angola. And try to occupy nowhere where them go liberate. You know, so I can see what you're talking about. The actions, me pluralize that. The actions of Fidel Castro show you a true liberator, a man who made the ultimate sacrifice, to stand up for not just the Cuban people, but all people who suffered oppression across the world. And we must continue to emulate leaders like this, and we see them around. No, we can't point otherwise than I and I who uphold that kind of principle. When the good gentleman spoke earlier, when you say research, do you believe that the Bible is the only book that we can find knowledge about Christ in?
Oh no.
Because that is something that I heard from Ejatan, and there is where he was going, that you should not go out of the Bible.
No, there are books that are locked down in Rome that we have never seen, we have never heard of. There is a period in history between the book of Malachi, the last book in the Old Testament, and Mark,
yes,
which is the first book in the New Testament, but then put Matthew. So make we then say between Malachi and Matthew, them is a tough word though. Them call it the intertestamental period, a period of 400 years of silence when God did not speak to mankind, they say. And then emerged John the Baptist announcing the arrival of the Messiah. The books that were written then, the Maccabees.
Yes.
When you read through them.
Yes, I have seen Maccabees.
They are more enlightening than some of the sacred texts in the Bible.
Yes.
Them have them in Rome.
Yes.
Now, I question why is it they didn't give us those books from the beginning, along with this Bible that we have. They're hiding things from us. And so there are many sources of enlightenment that we can get information from outside of Holy Scriptures. But if we decide to settle on Holy Scriptures, we can get enough information to liberate ourselves and others going forward.
You know what I want you to do? Just explain to the people when you say Holy Scriptures. Just explain to them that them can get a clear understanding. I know you can give a clear explanation to the people when you say Holy Scriptures, because people believe when you say Holy Scripture, most time, it can only come from the Bible. For them to understand what the word Scripture means.
When they speak of Holy Scriptures, normally in our context, they make reference.
Hold on a minute, Carla, we'll soon come to you.
They make reference to Holy Genesis down to Revelation.
Yeah.
But we could add the Holy Quran also,
as well
and
as
others, yes, from which we can get guiding lights to lead us forward through this dark tunnel we call time.
Yes, yes. Welcome, caller. We understand that there's another caller online. Welcome. Blessings and light. Welcome, caller.
Hello, me again.
Me again. Ejatan, Mackenzie.
Yeah, man.
Yes, yes.
I need to say something on the question that you asked a while ago about if there's any other books out of the Bible.
Yeah. Outside of the Bible. Outside of the Bible.
Right, outside of the Bible that speak about Jesus. There are millions of books. Millions of books speak about Jesus.
No, we not talk. No, we never say speak about Jesus. We talk about scriptures. That is different from speaking about Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there are many books out here that speak about scriptures. No,
hold on. Before you go any further, I have in my hand right now a book named The Dead Seas Scroll Deception. See? the complete Dead Sea Scrolls, right? Now, I'm going to read something commonly referred to as the resurrection fragment. This writing consists of 16 fragments. The script is dated to the beginning of the 1st century BCE, whether the designation Apocalypse is fully justified in the moot point. The writing comes across as a composition in verse akin to poetry of the late biblical period. The surviving fragment do not appear to include anything patently sectarian. The term Messiah probably is the singular used without the addition of Arian or Israel and the noun, right? Hashidim, absent from the big scrolls and the little attested. Now it go further to show us that the heavens and the earth will listen to his Messiah, and none therein will stray from the commandments of the holy ones. Now, the Dead Sea Scrolls deception, as they call it, is really some hidden scriptures. This book, they might show you scriptures that they took out from the great writer who they call named Habakkuk. You know, you realize in our King James Version, we only have 3 chapters of Habakkuk. When I say he was one of the most militant writer and revolutionary, so them could never, you know what I mean, put his writings inside the whole King James Version. Just like how them removed the Maccabees from the King James Version because it is too militant for the people, and other books. So when we talk about holy scriptures, we have to dig deep and realize that, you know, King James Version is just 400 and odd years old, you know. You have to understand that, you know, the version of King James was published, right? What you call 1611. Well on, make we go there, so 1611, right? So we can our spirituality not just come 16. So we must understand the atrocities that we have been through before even the 16th century. And I say slavery began before that. The transatlantic slave trade started before that, right? So we have to look especially as African people. Maybe you don't know if you want to see yourself that way there, but we and the Goodly River, so as revolutionaries, see ourselves as the first spiritual people, where Rome and all of these other people, you know, learn spirituality from, you know.
Sir,
Yes.
what I'm saying here is that the question that you asked, you know, and Pastor speaks about a 400 years between Mark and Malachi, and no, that 400 years. But let me say something before that. Let me give an example. No, you have a family, I have a family. We just let our family just go around and just hear everybody law. We make rules in our home. We tell our family how to live, in a sense. So we don't expect them to just go there and just get broad information for everybody. We don't expect them that, because you would come with some error. By the time I just find my wife just left me, if you just go there and get info. What I'm saying, so we have rules and we have things that we have in our home that we live by, right? No, the same applies to those who Christ has redeemed. And so Christ has left us and he has gave us a book called the Bible. No, that 400 years was when the Holy Spirit didn't speak, when God didn't speak until John come on the scene. And so the Christian religion, we are afraid of taking books from that 400 years to bring into the canon that God has given unto us. We're afraid of that.
Good to ever listen to you. I can't get clarity which 400 years. Maybe him can enlighten, you and I and that some more. So I don't understand clearly what you're saying here. I'm going to allow.
Christ never write in a book. We need to understand that. His followers and sympathizers were the ones who put things together. Read the book of Luke at the
Not
beginning.
hearing at all.
At the beginning of the book of Luke, you'll hear Luke talking about many who had attempted to write certain things, addressing whatever there was that was being written to one Theophilus. I too am happy to join with them to write, to give to you an account. I am speaking in substance. I'm not quoting verbatim that which had been recorded because I don't have a Bible in front of me. It's in my head. So I am writing so that I too can make a contribution to humanity. So we have out of that 2 books, one called Mark and the other Luke, written by Dr. Luke, a physician. So Jesus never write in a book. So I just want to get that clear. It was his followers and sympathizers. They were the ones who wrote the books. And the man them hide many things from us. What we have in the Bible is a lot. We can live by it, but we can, and more is out there for us to be enlightened going forward.
Get that clear.
Get that clear. Remember St. John, the last verses in St. John. He tell us there are many other things that wasn't written in the book. But what was written is for our learning today.
Yes.
There are many other things Jesus does.
You know, so you know your Bible,
Yeah,
but I know him write nothing.
But I know, that's him I say. Jesus never write nothing and left.
Never write nothing.
Yes.
Just talk and the
Right.
people them go to make the research.
Him just talk and it's just like how name some set of people. Some people them call him anthropologists, right? So anthropologists would and them claim that they are going to do some research, you know, intellectuals, and them come in a community, them do a studies on some people who made certain contribution. Then them document things and then put them out. It's the same thing, and that's why you hear the good Reverend saying, Dr. Luke, at the time Dr. Luke was one of those intellectual, right, who is writing about the life and the mission of the, you know? So, have to see where it coming from at that.
But all right, it's like, no matter you have writers, it's like it's different writing.
But you have a thing in editing, you know, Papa. You have a thing in editing and writing, you know.
Right,
So the way how I would have maybe say certain things and do certain things, and that's why I use it. And right, some man biography of another man, no, and you could have parts of Bible, word, yeah. We give Jesus the Hebrew part. He the name that you that's a or yeah. Yes. So we're here, you know, and these things affect our life in negotiation. Because the rev of church speaking about speak Christ as the Messiah and liberate. For me, is and dear neighbor has thyself. You know, but you know, more FM AA.com, and it's also Fit FM 96.7.
Really?
So
Who were slavers, right? And after the slave trade and the start of us, they created hat factories to sell